Brothers and sisters, let's try to capture some of the effervescence of this wonderful spring here in Berkeley in a green drink. A green drink of living salad greens from my garden, as well as some wild plants. A green drink is the living legacy of the live food movement. I first joined it over 40 years ago in San Diego, where I was a college teacher, and I've been on living foods more or less ever since. I follow a diet of maybe 80% raw or so. Out of the bleak drear of the 50s, Dr. Kirschner published a book which is still available on Amazon, Nature's Healing Grasses. And he's a medical doctor, and he's extolling the benefits of parsley, watercress, celery, alfalfa, as well as wild plants like dandelion, malva, fillory, and lamb's quarter. The book has a stunning photograph of the 82-year-old author, just filled with vitality. Now we're doing this green drink as our way of answer to the pandemic. And this has to be seen in its context in order to fully understand it. There's the pandemic of cancer, the pandemic of heart disease, the pandemic of high blood pressure, the pandemic of diabetes, the pandemic of obesity, the pandemic of depression, and the pandemic of suicide. All stem, in my humble opinion, from a profound imbalance in diet. The food that most Americans eat nowadays is ultra-processed and laden with artificial substances, pesticides, preservatives, and GMO. The food reflects our profound estrangement from nature, from one another, and from ourselves. Almost 40% of Americans are obese, and another 30% are overweight. And this, along with the waves of depression and suicide, is there any wonder that a disease sweeps through a population as imbalanced as this? And a study just out says that 40% of the patients hospitalized are hospitalized due to the virus are obese. That's right. Nearly half of the people in hospital because of the virus are obese. So here is our reply. Our reply is going to be by way of living greens filled with vitality. Some of these I've just harvested minutes ago. So we're going to start with an ordinary kitchen blender, and we're going to add some spring water. Mountain Valley, by the way, is one of the very, very best, and they've been going since 1871. The water comes from a wilderness in Arkansas, so they must have something good on their side. So with Mountain Valley spring water, I'm going to put that in a blender. And then to that, I'm going to add some parsley. Look at the vitality in this parsley, just harvested literally minutes ago. Parsley. What could be better for you? Parsley. And then, of course, with parsley, the next thing I'm going to add is, of course, kale. I have a Siberian kale and a Russian red kale. So some kale. And then I'm going to add some lettuce. Here's a red lettuce from my garden. Let's put that in. And here is here's an oak leaf lettuce, also just harvested. So let's put some of that in also. And that's enough. So let's give this a blend and see where we're at. Okay. And then we're going to add some Swiss chard. This is a ruby red chard, also from my garden. And then we're going to be adding some wild plants. First, we're going to be adding some stinging nettle, and it does sting indeed. But I've been harvesting so much over the years that I'm quite used to it by now. So a couple of bunches of stinging nettle we're going to be putting there. And stinging nettle, I have found, if you steam it ever so lightly, it tastes like spinach. Or if you blend it in a blender, it also becomes completely innocuous. So some stinging nettle. And then in addition to this, we're going to add some turmeric root and some ginger. For those of us who are concerned with inflammation, this is it, please. So some turmeric and some ginger. All right. And then we're going to chop up a beet. And put some of that in also. So now we've added some chopped beet for a gorgeous red color. And we have our wild greens, our malva, our stinging nettle, our dandelion greens. And I want to say, wild greens are everywhere. Purslane, chickweed, malva, dandelion are in every backyard USA. I strongly urge you to go on a wild plant walk, to study with a teacher, with an expert, and this would greatly enhance your possibilities for vibrant, lively food, especially in these times. So now I'm going to give this a blend. Okay. And here we have it, our green drink. This is our reply to the virus, our reply with vitality, with aliveness, and aliveness. Looks like I've got to give it a little more of a blend. Here we have our Living Green drink. Combine this, if you will, with intermittent fasting, with vigorous exercise in moderation, please, and with growing it as much as possible, growing it yourself. And you have a way, a gateway, to turn this distancing and lockdown into a space to recreate yourself, to become more vibrant and more alive. With brothers and sisters, of course. That's what it's all about. So let us go forward. Let us go forward to heal and recreate and renew. Thank you so much, brothers and sisters. It is a privilege. It is an honor to be sharing these thoughts with you. Your suggestions and comments are invaluable.